It's 8:30. Saturday Night Theatre.
The Riverside Villas Murder by Kingsley Amis. Dramatised for radio by Frederick Badlam. With Ian Sharrock as Peter Furneaux, Stephen Thorne as Captain Furneaux, and Peter Jeffrey as Colonel Manson. The play begins on a summer evening in 1936. The Riverside Villas Murder.
Hello there, Peter.
Good evening, Mr. Langdon. He's nice, Mr. Langdon. Golly funny. Terrific imitations of Sidney Howard and C.H. Middleton, he does. I think I'll fly them from here. Not too near the river, near enough to number 22 Riverside Villas. Mr. Hodgson, a private investigator. Dad says inquiry agent. Also ex-copper. I'll wind up the plane. Aeroplane, sorry. Have a look at garden. Deck chair, book on it. Must be Daphne. Coming back by the look of things. Daphne Hodgson. What does school's code of dishonour say? Find one, and keep on at her until she lets you take her out. Don't touch her until you've got her on her own. Right, aeroplane round up. Send it on a recce. Troop concentrations, movement of supplies and ammo. 1, 2, 3, off you go! She's climbing. Turning now. Go on. Curve down. Curve down. Hell. Shot up and there over the hedge of number 22. Blast. Here comes Daphne to the deck chair, wearing those trousers. So don't look there. Have to ask her. Hello, Daphne. Can I fetch my aeroplane?
Your what?
Aeroplane. It's over there in the flowers.
Oh, that model plane.
Yes. Can I fetch it?
Why not?
Thanks. It's a Moraine Sonia.
Oh. It's no stuff, is it?
No, it's okay. It'd have to go full speed into a brick wall to do much to itself. It's very light, you see.
Oh. Is it?
Here, feel it.
Oh, I believe you.
What are you reading?
Book.
Oh.
And if you don't mind, I'm going to go on reading it.
I wonder if she's done it. Can't imagine her. Is it a thriller?
Not so fast, is it?
What's it called?
The Constant,
Nymph. Try to see down the front of her shirt. The Constant Nymph. What's it about?
Young girl in love with old man, I think.
Would you like to come for a walk after supper?
Where to?
Just along the river. We could talk and things.
Some things. When's your voice going to break?
It started to already, and a lot else is all there in working order.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I bet. What about this walk?
What walk? I told you.
All right. I'll try again, though. I don't give up easily.
No. You do shut the gate when you go?
Of course. I did it. Bring up sex whenever you can, but not in a crude way. Was in working order crude? Couldn't see a thing down her shirt. Anyway, dishonour is satisfied. Now, I'll try the manoeuvre. Send the Moraine Sonia up, then catapult the Skyhawk glider to intercept it like an aerial torpedo. Right. Wind up the plane. Aeroplane, sorry. There. 1, 2, 3. Off you go! Glider at the ready. Here she comes. Take aim. Fire! No, too far in front. Would have given the pilot a nasty shock, though, I bet. Where are they? Near number 19. Pick them up and try again. Mrs. Trevelyan.
Peter? Peter Furneaux.
Hello, Mrs. Trevelyan.
Hello, Peter. How are you? Any news from your mother?
I'm very well, thank you. No, not since yesterday. We're going to ring up this evening and find out.
I was wondering, when you rung, whether you and your father might like to come and have a bite of supper with my husband and me.
It's very kind of you, Mrs. Trevelyan.
I'll ask him in a moment. What are the planes?
This is a Moraine Sonia, and this is a Skyhawk glider.
Maneuver?
Just training flights.
Oh, of course. I realize you can't give anything away to casual inquirers, but I wondered...
Well, actually, these are secret trials. A new technique of anti-aircraft defense. An aerial torpedo, the Skyhawk, aimed at the middle of an enemy formation.
Yes, I see. How's it fired?
It had been launched by catapults. There are catapults, real ones, I mean, that can launch an aeroplane from the decks of naval vessels. The battlecruiser HMS Hood is one.
Catapult. You're 14, aren't you, Peter?
Yes, that's right.
You build your own machines?
The plane, the aeroplane's just shot kit. Elastic motor, quite powerful when it's fully wound. There are petrol ones you can buy, but they cost a terrific lot. She's looking at me like the chap who guessed my weight, but differently. I would like to build one of my own, but that would cost a lot too. I'm not sure I could do it anyhow. I'm not good enough with my hands.
Oh, I'm sure that sort of thing develops with practice.
Well, I suppose it might.
Now, I must go and find your father before he starts supper. Are you coming in?
I think I'll just have another couple of flights.
I hope to see you later, then.
Yes, thank you. Her hips and her top half. You can see them move. Easily move on her dress. White dress with red and blue flower pattern. She's not a girl. Not like Daphne. 25, 27. Terrifically attractive. Looks me up and down that way. Did I blush? Hope we go to supper. 2 flights and I'll go in. Hello, Dad.
Hello, Peter. Honestly, old boy, I can't imagine what possesses some people. I've tried, but I can't.
What sort of people, Dad?
Well, this woman, Charlotte Bryant, from the Sunday Express here, sentenced to death yesterday for murdering her husband. Weed killer, if you please. Giving your own husband arsenic over a period of 6 months. Watching him, writhing about. Oh, I just can't understand it. Beyond me.
Are we going to have supper with Mr. and Mrs. Trevelyan?
Yes. Decent little woman, Mrs. Trevelyan. I can't say I altogether take to him, Don, or Ron, or whatever he's called. Bit of a go-getter, if you ask me.
He's a solicitor, isn't he, Dad?
Yeah, something of the sort. I say, old boy, will you put the top back on that bottle for me?
Yes, thanks.
This is when I miss your mother. She's my right arm, all right.
I don't know, Dad. You do a lot of things with it.
Well, since I've suffered it since 1918, 18 years now, I ought to be used to it. I am, I suppose, on the whole. Except for not being able to wield a tennis racket. That still cuts.
It's a tennis club's flannel dance next Saturday, isn't it?
So it is, yes, your first flannel dance. Now, this chap they hanged the other week, Buck Ruxton.
Dad, are we going to ring up Mum?
Ah, yes. You go and ask for the number, would you? I'll come and speak when they put you through.
Righto, Dad.
The number's on the pad.
Hello? I want Mitchum 2679, please. Selston 0647.
I know better.
Thank you.
Oh, my God.
Dad? Oh, hello. This is Peter. Yes. Can I speak to Mum, please? Dad? Mum's coming.
Here we are. Acting Chief Constable Colonel Manton, DSO-MC. 11:30 sharp.
Good morning.
Good morning. Colonel Manton was expecting me. Detective Constable Barrett?
Oh, yes. Oh, do come in, Mr. Barrett.
Ah, thank you.
He said for you to wait in the library.
Oh, thank you.
Here. It won't be a moment.
Yes. Ah. What do you read, Colonel, sir? The incredulity of Father Brown. Who's he? Parson? Priest? Ah, the mysterious affair at Styles, Agatha Christie. I should have guessed you're a tech yarn fan, sir.
Ah, morning, Jules Barrett.
Good morning, sir.
Wretched weather.
Yes, it is unsettled, like.
Yes, indeed. You sit down.
Oh, thank you.
What would you say to a glass of champagne?
Well, sir,
Drinking on duty. Don't let's have any of that nonsense. Glass of bubbly is a splendid pick-me-up this time of the day, don't you agree?
I haven't had much practice with it, sir.
Now that we must remedy. There we are. Charlie.
Charlie, sir?
I do beg your pardon. Charlie is service language for the letter C, which is dash dot in the Morse code, and in this case stands for champagne. Mrs. Ellington, who let you in, and I have worked out quite a useful system. It saves time for both of us, and it means I only have to see her once on each occasion instead of twice, which is an advantage because I don't like her much. Right, tell me what you know about this business. All I know is that someone snaffled Boris Karloff and some coins.
Yeah, well, Miss Hoolgate, the assistant librarian, sir, discovered the glass case in which Boris Karloff was kept was empty shortly after 9 this morning.
Long borrow man, a very well-preserved skeleton. Probably Stone Age, possibly Victorian.
Well, the experts can't agree, sir, on when he lived.
But dead, he bears a remarkable resemblance to Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's helpful monster.
Yes, sir. Whoever stole him, anyway, also stole some of the museum's coins. Only some, and not the most valuable.
How does the thief get in?
Window in the alley at the rear, sir. Used wrapping paper glued to the pane before smashing the glass.
See.
Somebody may have heard or seen something, but I doubt it. The window is in a recessed light. Sergeant Duke is doing a house-to-house round.
Hold on. Put it down there, Mrs. Ellington.
Thank
you. No hammers or blood around, I suppose?
Oh, no, sir. A professional job by the look of it.
I always get her to open stuff, so I don't like the bag. Here we are.
Thank you, sir.
I'm here, Barrett. Tell me, how's my old associate, Detective Inspector Cox?
Oh, all right, I think, sir. Busy as usual.
What's his thought on Boris Karloff going?
He said the case will either be dead easy or hopeless.
Not a bad snap judgment. Intelligent fellow, Cox. Pity he's such a fearful swine. Oh! fellow. Well, now you've poured that one down, have another. Thank you, sir. Let's see now. Motive. Who might want to get hold of Boris Karloff? Have him snaffled. About her.
Mr. McGrath, the librarian, reckons there's no market for him.
No, I'm sure he's right. And the coins?
Worth about 60 quid and could be sold.
If our man wanted only one or the other, the coins or Boris, which was it?
Boris. You wouldn't take him at all if all you wanted was the coin.
Nice, simple thinking, and I can see a great deal in its favour. But there's absolutely nothing to suggest he didn't want both. Karloff and the coins, for some reason yet to emerge.
Wait a mo, old boy. There'll be a gap in the traffic in a moment, if we're lucky. Amazing, isn't it, what people will pack into a small car? What sort of car's that?
Standard 9, there.
I suppose they've been to Eastbourne or Brighton for the day, lucky blighters. Now a gap's coming up. Over we go. That's it. Good. Nearly there. Your first tennis club flannel dance, old boy. Quite an occasion, isn't it?
I'm looking forward to it. Was all day.
There'll be sandwiches and bridge rolls and things if you start feeling peckish. I do wish your mother could get back. I'm afraid I'm not much of a hand at anything more complicated than eggs and bacon. This is it. Here we are. We turn up here. Look out! Silly devil. He was too damn near.
He stopped. They must be going to the dance.
Yeah, must be. Who is it? I might have known. Ill-bred little squirt.
Who is he, Dad?
He is Christopher Inman, Esquire. And that's his lady wife. Absolute rabbit at tennis, he is. Can't play for toffee.
He's very small. Young-looking.
Well, he's old enough to know better. Right, come along. In we go. Who's playing? Bert Sofa's Rhythm Boys. I suppose they're okay.
They're having a trumpeter.
So I see. Now, who's here? There's Mr. and Mrs. Trevelyan.
They're waving us over to them.
I might as well join them then, eh? For a start, anyway.
Find out.
Good evening, Mrs. Trevelyan. Trevelyan?
Good
evening. Young Peter's here for his first flannel dance.
I hope you enjoy it, Peter.
Thank you, Mrs. Trevelyan. I'm sure I shall.
Well, I'm in the chair. What do you both have?
Well, thank you. I'll have a pale ale if I may.
Pale ale, and you, Peter?
Can I have a cider?
You certainly can. I won't be a jiffy. Here's Reg Langdon. My round, Reg. What do you have?
Hey, by from who's got here? Peter Furno.
You meant to be Yorkshire or Lancs, Mr. Langdon?
Oh, you cheeky young devil.
Are you by yourself, Mr. Langdon?
I am, Mrs. Trevelyan. Wife pleads a sick headache.
How are you, Furno?
Well enough, considering all things.
Good crowd here this evening.
Just about the whole of Riverside Villas, except for the Hodgsons.
Oh, Harry said they were going to be a bit late. How's school, Peter?
Not too bad.
Here we are.
Very good.
Sidetrack for the guest of honor. Here's yours, darling.
Thank you.
Cheers, everybody. Peter.
You, Peter.
Cheers, Peter. My school days were bad. Awful from start to finish. Oh, mine weren't. I was the school bully from the day I arrived, pretty near, so I had a lovely time. Insensitive clods like you, Don, will be okay. Fellows cast in a finer mold, like me. There's modesty for you. And then I had the crass idiocy to do it all over again, the other way round.
I didn't know you'd been a master.
Well, a teacher rather than a master. Girls as well as boys. 6 inglorious years of it.
Oh, where was this?
Of course, there were great compensations, my young friend. I've always much loved the beautiful little children. They are so, well, how shall I say, so fragile, and the little necks, oh, there they are.
That was the German film, was it?
Yes, you remember, Strong Meat for Babes. Has anyone seen The Secret Agent yet?
I haven't. It's in the West End, isn't it?
Yes. I went in my capacity as film critic for The Rag. John Gielgud and Robert Young, as well as Laurie. There's a terrific scene in the chapel.
Peter, I want some air. Come with me.
Why would you do
Thank you, Peter. We'll go back in a minute, only I thought you were finding it just a bit boring.
No. Well, yes, a bit.
I imagine you'll be keeping a pretty close eye on the local girlhood tonight.
That is the sort of the idea, of course. But I haven't had much practice yet, and there's the age problem.
Oh, there's always an age problem, however old you are, Peter. Have you any particular fancies?
I was thinking of Daphne Hodgson, but she's not here yet.
Oh, I know. She's a nice-looking girl.
I think so, but she's a bit, heavy-going.
Oh, what do you mean? Dull?
No, not really. More high and mighty, supercilious.
Oh, so you get the impression she doesn't like you much.
That's it exactly. Not dislike, just doesn't much like.
How many times have you met and talked to her?
About a dozen.
Average length of conversation?
I don't know, 5, 6 minutes.
Then she doesn't not like you, that's for certain.
Some of the time she couldn't have got out of it.
Oh, yes, she could, believe me. How old is she?
15.
Peter, growing up isn't any easier for girls than it is for boys. Daphne is just as unsure of herself as you are. But she hides it behind this sort of, so what, and don't know what you're talking about attitude.
Who told you that?
Who told me what?
She's always saying to me, so what? And she doesn't know what I'm talking about.
I guess. If she does it again, tell her politely you'll put it another way.
A simpler way, if I can possibly manage to think of one by racking my brains.
No. That's bad psychology with females. Keep that for your clever chums at school. Don't you agree?
Good Lord. You're awfully... I don't know. It sounds silly, but you're awfully wise.
That's very nice of you, but I'm not really. I just remember things.
I think it's more than that.
Oh, look. There's the Hodgsons arriving and Daphne.
Better late than never.
Over you go and ask her for the first dance.
Yes. What about you?
Oh, don't worry about me. I'll see myself back.
Jolly hot in here, isn't it?
Is it?
Well, I think it is.
Oh,
sorry. You just have to follow my lead, Daphne. There's nothing to it if you've got a natural sense of rhythm.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let me put it another way. You must find the beat.
What beat? What's the matter with you, you soppy date?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Oh.
Thank you.
How'd it go, son?
All right, I think, Mr. Hodgson.
Yeah, well, I know. No need to tell me.
I'm going to sit down.
Well, nobody's stopping you. Let's try and have a glass of ginger pop, Peter.
It's very nice of you, Mr. Hodgson, but I better be getting back.
Oh, where's your old man, then? Oh, I see. Over there with the Trevelyan.
I say, Mr. Hodgson,
What is it, son?
you know a lot of people. Who's that gentleman in the dark suit to your right on the edge of the floor?
Oh, him. Oh, he's a gent, all right. That's his nibs, Colonel Manton. I'll imagine why he's here tonight. Why do you ask?
I thought he was watching us dancing.
Yeah, you don't want to have nothing to do with him. Not you.
Why not, Mr. Hodgson?
Oh, I can't explain now, only he's a funny sort of coat.
Well, I better be going. Thank you for the dance, Daphne.
Oh, all right.
Bye, son.
Colonel Manton. Homo, is he? Not like most. But he watches me all evening. Who's that at our table? Inman. Yes. Inman, who's a little squirt. What's he up to?
Cut along, old chap. Best thing all round. Hello, Peter.
I'm back, Dad.
I shall cut along, old chap, in approximately 30 seconds. I have one thought to leave you with, Captain Turner. I ran into that bloke again the other day.
What bloke?
Oh, you know what bloke. The bloke who had the privilege of being a comrade in arms of yours in His Majesty's Royal Flying Corps during the late hostilities. How many of your comrades left, are there? All but a few went down in that troop ship, didn't they?
Okay,
Anyway, this bloke was positive he remembered you, and he had some very interesting
Clear
things
off,
to
Chris. Clear off.
And
before I
don't
go-
you start, Mr. Trevelyan, feeling that you're perfectly secure in your tasteful semi-detached Riverside residence.
You better stop.
There are
Don't
some
stop.
items in your own situation that would not, as the saying goes, look well in the full light of day. So watch your step, and keep a very civil tongue in your head. And I mean that for all of you. You, Langdon, and you, Captain Furno, also.
You need teaching a lesson.
Oh, really? Do you think you're mad enough?
Okay, everybody. Come on, dear. Come on.
Are you all right?
Yes, thank you, my dear old boy.
Oh, he's like some stupid kid.
Poisonous little beast.
What was he talking about? About a bloke? I couldn't understand it.
He didn't know what he was saying himself. The fellow was completely pickled. Drunk. Now, let's forget it.
Peter, may I have the pleasure of this dance, sir?
You may indeed. No back to her dress. Her thumbs against my thumb. Close. Will it count with her? Is it like a nurse? No, nothing like a nurse. Dark suit there, Colonel Manton. Watching.
This is little Angeline, isn't it?
That's right.
Not playing it very well, are they?
No, they're pretty lousy.
Which are the good bands, Peter?
Well, all the ones you hear on the wireless are pretty good. Carol Gibbons and the Savoy Hotel Orpheans, Maurice Winnick, Charlie Coons from Cassani's Club, George Scott Wood and his Six Stringers.
That's a lot of names to remember.
You soon learn if you're really interested.
That's true. You're a natural dancer, Peter.
That was a funny business with Mr. Inman, wasn't it?
He's a poisonous little swine, that's all.
I can't understand why he should have gone out of his way to be so unpleasant like that.
Causing trouble for the fun of it. There are people who like doing it, and he's one.
My father told me Mr. Trevelyan had been made a partner in his firm. He must be very pleased.
Oh, we are, of course. Of course, it'll be a wrench in a way.
A wrench?
We'll be moving to North London as soon as we found a house.
I see. North London.
Peter. Oh, please, Peter. I'm not going to vanish off the face of the earth. You must come and see us there.
Yes. Feels as if you are. Going to vanish?
Well, we're not. You'll see. Now, let's concentrate on your dancing. You're good, all right, but you ought to open up a bit. Variations.
Oh, right. the pretty tune. These foolish things. I know. The telephone that rings, but who's to answer? Oh, how the ghost of the king. That's very well put for this sort of song. I wonder if anybody special wrote it. Should I leave now? She doesn't. She's still closed. There's Mr. Inman at the Hodgson's table now. Oh, they've dimmed the lights. I can't see properly.
Peter?
Yes?
I'm not going away yet. Kiss. Not yet. There.
Look, Mr. Hodgson and Mr. Inman. Hodgson's going to hit him.
He has!
Stopped him on the chin.
Oh, Sir Christopher Inman's right.
Everybody's crowding round. Can't see a thing. There's Colonel Manton. He looks as if he means business.
Oh, that man. He never took his eyes off us. We'd better go back. There's the father looking anxious.
Right. Stand back.
I wish Mum would come back soon. Still, it's really quite good being alone. Dad not back till 6:30 about. Homework. Later. Not much anyway. And I can do the Congress of Vienna in the morning on the train. Time. 5 to 5. Radio Times. Tuesday. 5:15. The London Zigeuner Orchestra. Have that on. What's in the Daily Mirror? New flight in August. Jim and Amy Mollison. What's this under it? Change of life in men and women. Dr. Marie Stopes. Sex? Change into what? 6 bob, post fourpence? Not likely. Cricket. How the Indians doing? What? French windows. There's a bloke there. Is he drunk? Just a jiff. I'll open the windows. Fallen in the river. Soaking wet. Come in. Can I help? Mr. Inman.
Oh, it's me.
Sit down. His head. Wounded. I'll get help, Mr. Inman. Get Mrs. Trevelyan. Mrs. Trevelyan! Mrs. Trevelyan!
What is it?
There's an accident. A man's been hurt. He's inside.
I'll come straight away. Go back to him.
I had to put a cushion over his head. Mr. Inman, can you hear me?
Oh.
Hello. Funny. Mr. Inman, there's help on the way. We'll get a doctor.
Oh. Heard something. It turned round. Hit me in the head. I fell down. I had to tell him. You wouldn't have liked it. It was important. I had to be honest. A man has the right to know.
Don't talk. You shouldn't try.
You're the Furno boy, aren't you?
Yes, Peter Furno.
You tell you...
God! It's Chris Inman! How did it happen, Chris? Peter, go to the telephone and tell them it's an emergency call and they're to send an ambulance as soon as possible. Don't try to talk, Chris.
Italy. I had to tell
Important. Sorry? Oh.
Yes, that's
Oh, my God. Is that dead, is it? Fetch me that mirror. Thank you. I think so. The mirror's quite clear. I think he's dead, Peter.
How do you feel, old boy?
I'm not yet.
Just about. Oh, I ran every yard from the office. Jack Lovelock couldn't have done it faster. I don't know how you can be so calm. Marvellous, 100%.
I wasn't frightened when he came in and fell over. I was more sorry for him. Then he seemed to be saying hello and other muddled things. It was worse for Mrs. Trevelyan. He died as she held his head.
Yes. The police inspector said he doesn't think it was an accident. Somebody probably thumped him with a sharp instrument and then shoved him in the river. And the doctor's surprised he managed to get out and get up here.
I think, Dad, if you don't mind, I'll take Mrs. Trevelyan home and stay with her till the doctor comes. We'll only be next door if the inspector wants us again.
Good idea, old boy.
Let me take you home, Mrs. Trevelyan.
Thank you, Peter. Yes.
The police have phoned Mr. Trevelyan and your doctor.
Yes.
Oh,
The fresh air's nice. Give me your arm. No door key. We'll have to go in the back way. The door's open.
I'm not walking too fast.
No. You're a brave boy, Peter. And intelligent. I couldn't have moved a finger under my own steam.
Anybody could see that. I'll open the gate. There we are.
Peter, I know it's silly, but bolt the gate, please.
No, it's not silly. I bet we bolt ours tonight. Sorry. The bolt's rather stiff. Done it. Now, let me take you into the house.
Don't grow up too fast, Peter. When I was your age, I couldn't wait to get out into the world, because I thought it was going to be so marvelous. Well, it isn't. Things like this, they're happening all the time. And it isn't fair. It isn't fair at all.
Don't cry. Please, Mrs. Trevelyan. You've had an awful shock.
I know. Awful. Oh, that's my husband's car. I'll be all right now. And thank you, Peter. Thank you.
So, you're Peter Furner.
Yes, sir.
My name is Manton, and this is Detective Inspector Cox and Detective Constable Barrett, whom we met yesterday.
Hello, young Master Furner.
Yes, Furner, that's a French name, isn't it?
It was originally, but my father says our ancestors came to England in the 15th century.
No doubt they did. Now, Peter, I read the statement you made to Mr. Barrett yesterday, and I've asked you to come to my house because there's one or two things I want to ask you. But first, let me tell you, we can stop this little talk anytime you choose, understand?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, those things you said Inman said, are they verbatim?
I think so, sir. I was listening very carefully.
Well, you say Inman kept saying hello. Are you certain of that?
No, sir. It was as near as I could get. He wasn't talking clearly. He was very blurred.
Yes, Barrett.
Funny thing for a seriously injured man to say, wasn't it?
Yes, but he was very confused. I don't think he could see very well, and he only just knew me. So he could have said hello out of puzzlement or surprise.
Yeah. What do you think, Cox?
Well, it's possible, isn't it? Anything's possible.
Indeed, yes. Peter, did you make any particular sense out of the other things he said?
No, sir.
Right. Now, as to the dance on Saturday, I was there. I think you saw me.
Yes, I did, sir.
I think I saw some sort of altercation involving Inman and your father and Mr. Trevelyan.
Yes, Mr. Trevelyan was very angry. He'd have hit Mr. Inman if Mrs. Inman hadn't arrived, I'm sure.
Yeah. Could you make anything of what Inman said to your father?
Yes, sir, to a certain extent. You see, my father's squadron was recalled from Mesopotamia in the last year of the war, but it never got back. The troopship was sunk. There were, I think it was 7 left altogether, including my father. They were the ones in hospital who weren't fit to travel. My father had smashed himself up a couple of days before when his engine failed as he was coming into land. His right arm's not much use even now.
What type of aeroplane was it?
A slop with F1 Camel, sir. My father can tell you all about it.
Yes, sorry, Cap. Let's get back to Trevelyan for a moment. You said he was very angry. Well, there's lots of sorts of angry. Which sort was he?
Not wild, sir. Dangerous looking, but well under control.
Thank you. Have you got that, Barrett? All of it?
Yeah, I have, sir. I think Master Furneaux is to be congratulated.
Yes, he is. Don't you think so, Cox?
It would be most helpful, youngster.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Peter, perhaps you wait in the little room outside while we have a few words with your father.
A hell of a long few words. He's been there 20 minutes. What was it Inman's friend remembered? Who killed Inman? Why? I do wish Mum was here. Dad looks so lost.
Please wait in here. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Hodgson.
Sit down, son. You been in there?
Yes. My father's in there at present.
My turn next. Well, what'd you make of his nibs, Colonel Manton, eh?
I thought he was rather nice. A bit sort of funny, though.
Oh, he's a scream. That half he isn't. Marvellous, isn't it? I take a swing at him and in public means I'll probably dull him in.
I wouldn't think so.
Oh, thanks, Peter, but you're not them. Is your mother back yet?
No, she can't leave. My aunt hasn't had the baby yet. It's late or something.
Are you here, are you, Hudson?
Yep. Does his nibs want me in now?
In a moment, Mr. Hodgson.
You were a long time with Colonel Manton, Dad?
The blighter's raving mad. Question after damn silly question.
What sort of questions?
Now, what sort of a man Christopher Inman was? Had he got any enemies? I said he must have had at least one, which didn't go down at all well, let it be said. Had I noticed any suspicious characters hanging about the place?
Could Furneaux have managed it in the time? There and back, Colonel.
That we must establish, Barrett.
It wouldn't have been easy for him with that arm.
No, Cox, not easy.
Anyway, he did come very clean about the crash. That is, the non-crash.
Well, he knew we could probably turn up the hospital records. True, probably. Or find that bloke of Inman's. Right, let's have our private inquiry agent in, shall we?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Mr. Hodgson, will you come in now, please?
Yep. Ah, better than the station, this room.
Come in, Hodgson.
Mr. Hodgson.
Oh, good. I'm glad I have the name right. I'd be grateful if you would tell me where you were between 4:30 and 5 yesterday afternoon.
I was out Putney way, Upper Richmond Road.
What were you doing there?
I was on a case. At least I thought I was.
Explain.
Well, somebody rang me up, gave his name as Evans, and asked me to go to number 2 Hazel Drive, Putney. Wouldn't say why on the phone, which is not unusual in my business. He told me it was about 5 minutes' walk from Putney High Street, going west along the Upper Richmond Road on the north side. When I got there, no Hazel Drive, where he said.
Did you ask anybody? Isn't it on the street plan?
Well, I asked a woman, and she was sure there wasn't such a place. No, it's not on the street plan, but there are new streets around there, and streets with names like Hazel Drive. Hazel Well, for instance. Anyway, I walked along the Upper Richmond to Rocks Lane, but no Hazel Drive. So I headed back to the office, fast as I could go. But it was all right when I got there, so I came home. That's it.
Times?
Well, left the office at 3:30 or so. Got to where Hazel Drive wasn't, say 4:20. Gave up looking like after 15 minutes. Back to the office 5:30, just about 2 hours.
What about the woman you asked? Description?
Well, I didn't notice. I was too head up, see?
Head up about what?
Well, being distinct like mad. No, I didn't care for Evans' voice first off, all deep and hoarse like he was forcing it. Now, the way I seen it, some sort of got me out the way so he could have a go at my office. Well, I got no cash to speak of, but lots of files, confidential. When I got back to Oban, I find everything's all right and I shrug it off. Till I get home and find Chris Inman's been done in, and when. So I see where that puts me from your point of view.
So you work alone?
No, son. I've got 10 assistants sitting around the place.
Which means there were no witnesses to the phone call.
Somebody may have seen me leaving the building, that's all. Now, Evans was fixing me up with no alibi for what happened to Chris Inman.
I won't keep you much longer, Hodgson. I'd just like to know the details of the altercation you had with Inman last Saturday.
Okay. Inman said I got pitched out of the force for taking backhanders. That's bribes to you. Well, I say it's a lie, and you won't find nothing on my record about it. My record says I resigned, and I say so too. Now, you'll have to start looking somewhere else altogether. I'll make it a bit stronger while you're about it if you want a motive for me. You don't kill a bloke because he shoots off his mouth that you once took a few backhanders 9 years ago. Now, hopeless, my dear old soldier. I don't care anymore. Good day.
Langdon, by the way, Colonel, is well known for his imitations of celebrated people. Can turn on any sort of voice, I gather.
Yeah, but his alibi is cast iron, I'm afraid. He can join Trevelyan on the eliminated list. Have you the medical report on Inman there about it?
No, yes, sir.
Ah, thank you. Rapid cerebral compression, struck with tremendous violence, like the work of a tall, right-handed man. Ugh. Nature of the weapon difficult to determine, brain penetrated. In some case, considerable physical exertion.
Some minutes. He could easily have...
Yes. And we've just been talking to a man without an alibi who's the only person in sight with a required physical qualification.
Hodgson.
Yes. Madly dull, isn't it?
We've been assuming Inman was struck hand to hand. Couldn't he have had something thrown at him?
By a darts player with muscles like Samson.
Oh, not necessarily thrown by hand. Projected in some way. A bow and arrow, perhaps.
I'll tell you exactly how it was done. Mrs. Trevelyan wanted to kill Inman because he knew she'd been a West End whore and was telling people so. But she didn't want to stab him or poison him because that would have been dull. So she read up a lot of detective stories to find a madly undull way. As a result, she stole a crossbow out of a museum and hid behind a bush with it near the river. And when Inman came along, she called out, "Keep still for a bit, Chris, while I aim my crossbow at you, please."
Museum. Good point, Cox. So far, we haven't found any possible way of linking the theft of Boris Karloff with the murder of Inman.
I see. There must be a link, because it would be so dull if there wasn't. Well, I reckon Furneaux was once a regular customer of the Trevelyan dame, so he nicked the skeleton for her to use as target practice.
Perhaps you're right, Cox. Perhaps you're right.
And do you think we'll come across the weapon, sir?
You, Cox?
Well, they never found a weapon in the Wallace case, did they?
No, never. No. Our weapon's gone. Over the river and all the grass and greenery and so forth. And that's assuming he didn't take it with him. It leaves me very depressed, Cox. You'll be glad to know.
Alibis are the order of the day, old boy. Who's that saying?
Giraldo and his...
No, I was in my office.
Then that's all right, because the girl was with you, wasn't she?
Well, I'd sent her home after lunch. She wasn't well, off colour. She didn't want to go, but I insisted. Well, that looks good, doesn't it? Nobody called in. Nobody telephoned until you did with the news. So I could have done it without even hurrying very much, according to our clever custodians of the law.
But, Dad, you'd have been seen. I don't understand.
Well, they say I could have gone out the back door. Then I could have gone under the road by way of the culvert. Well, catwalk across it, apparently. The same thing going back. And they found some sort of spiked club yesterday by the bridge, they said.
A club?
Yeah. Why they don't call him Scotland Yard beats me. And it's that Manton fella. Obstinate as a damn mule. And that's not the worst thing about him, by a long chalk.
You have been listening to Romance...
Inside. Shall I turn it off?
Yes, do, old boy. Did you want a bath?
I think so, Dad. And after my bath, we could listen to the London Regional. The BBC Orchestra Section G, conducted by Leslie Heward, with Heddle Nash, tenor. What was it England was on about at the dance? Was it something shameful? Skeleton in the cupboard. And would Dad kill him to stop his tongue? Everybody seems upset that Colonel Manton is apparently... Do they really think I don't know about homos? Surprise them to know how often I've been approached by such gents. Lock the door. What do you do, Peter, when I tell you to clear off loudly with much bad language? Bathroom? Yes. Turn the taps off. Get undressed. What's that? What's happening? Oh, Lord, what? Coming down, coming. Fast. Pull trousers up and lock the door. What's happened? Are you hurt?
No, I'm all right. I'm all right. Just get this thing off me, will you?
You're bleeding.
Give me a hand up. Oh,
Oh, he cut me, did he?
Yes, your head. Who was it then? Who did it?
Why, I heard a knock on the front door, so I went and opened it, and he just jumped at me. Hit me with a sort of club, and I went over, and he turned the whole stand over on top of me. Oh. Yeah, I say. I'll be damned. Look, he left a weapon behind.
It's a club with a nail through it. He could have killed you with it, Dad.
This club thing here, Mr. Furno, you've never seen it before.
No, Inspector Cox, I've never seen it before, but I can guess what it is. It's a replica of the thing used to kill poor Inman.
Yeah, so you were attacked with this weapon, went over, and the attacker pulled the whole stand on top of you. Can you give me a description?
Well, I didn't have the whole light on, and the light outside wasn't good. Was taller than me, young, all right, and pretty strong, powerful. He had something around his face. Oh, and he was wearing a dark hat and a raincoat, light-coloured. That's all I remember.
Now, did he say anything at any stage?
No, he swore at me as he went for me. I won't say what he said in front of the boy. And when he was looking down at me, he said something like, don't think you've got away with it. You're no better than Inman. I'll get you.
What sort of voice? Do you remember?
As if he had a cold. Peculiar. I know. Like an actor's when he wants to make sure everybody can hear when he's talking quietly in the play. And there was complete, absolute hatred in his voice.
Yes, come in. Ah, Sergeant Duke, any luck?
Not a thing, sir. The civilians on that side heard a bump, but thought nothing of it. The other side were out. Nothing along the rest of the row.
What about the Langdons at number 11?
Heard nothing, saw nothing, sir.
All right, thank you, Duke.
I'll be outside, sir.
All right. So, our tall, powerful young man vanished into thin air. Now, Sonny Jim, you opened the front door. It's still daylight, and you saw nothing.
He would have had plenty of time to disappear, Mr. Cox.
How long? Give it a guess.
From when I came running down the stairs to when I opened the door, after I helped Dad, picked up the weapon, at least 30 seconds.
But he'd have to have run, wouldn't he, to get out of sight in 30 seconds? And you think somebody in the Riverside houses would have heard or seen a big bloke in a long mac belting down the pavement, wouldn't you?
It was just bad luck they didn't, Mr. Cox.
Like the whole attack, my lad. Bad luck. Anyway, I'll give you police protection, Mr. Furno, just to be on the safe side.
Hello, Peter. How nice of you to come.
Hello, Mrs. Trevelyan. How nice of you to ask me.
Do come in. What an awful day. Saturday and it does nothing but rain. What an awful summer we're having. Now, give me your coat.
Thank you. It's not very wet.
Wait, you didn't have far to come. But in this weather... Oh, I'm so glad your mother's back, for your father's sake as much as yours.
Yes, I'm glad too.
I'm afraid the house is in a bit of a mess. We're decorating. Are you absolutely starving for your tea?
Good Lord, no, I'm not at all hungry.
Good. Because I thought before we settle down, I could show you what we've been doing in the decoration line. Upstairs first. I feel rather pleased with our efforts. I'll take a jiff.
Is Mr. Trevelyan working?
No. He's away until sometime tomorrow. Women always insist on showing visitors around, as you probably noticed. Here we are. What do you think of this bedroom, for instance? Close the door.
Yes, it's very nice.
It's not really very nice. But you are. I thought it would be silly to waste time.
Yes? What?
No. No, you're not to do anything. I'll do everything. And you're to let me do everything. You're so nice.
Please, don't cry. Please. Tell me what's the matter.
I feel when I'm sad. I've taken a decent young boy and I've corrupted him, seduced him, just thinking of my own pleasure.
You mustn't. I'd have seduced you if I'd known how. I'm no plaster saint, and you haven't corrupted me. It's the opposite you've done. And you're not evil and bad. You're sweet and beautiful.
Thank you, Peter. Oh, Peter. Now, would you like your tea?
Good Lord. I'm hungry. Yes, please.
Well, you stay where you are. Everything's done except make the tea. I'll go and bring it up here. It'll be cozy, won't it?
You like being, well, sort of in charge, don't you? This is scrumptious cake.
I made it myself. Yes, wanting to be the dominating one. It's probably rather awful of me, but I do. I don't know why.
A boy doesn't mind, because it's all strange to him. And he's so terrifically keen on everything to do with it anyway.
I expect so. I've been with a couple of other boys, you know. But you, Peter, are the most beautiful, the nicest of them all.
Darling, Mrs. Trevelyan.
Darling, Peter. You can have some more cake later. Put the tray on the draining board, Peter. Mind the clothes mangle.
What happened to the window?
You've sharp eyes. I knocked a pane out. My husband repaired it.
I think I should go soon. I said I'd be back by about past.
I don't want you to, but you'd better. In a moment. Tell me, is your father all right after that awful business?
He's a bit shocked still, I think.
At least everybody knows now he couldn't have... Well, it must have been somebody else who did the murder. Somebody who's still around.
The trouble is, no one saw or heard the attacker except him.
You must have heard him.
I was running a bath. I couldn't swear I did.
Peter, what are you saying?
That Inspector Cox, he didn't believe Dad. He could see it. He could have done it all himself.
That's insane. Why should he pretend he was attacked? Why?
To make people think it was an armed assault by the same man who killed Inman. So whoever that man is, it couldn't be Dad, as you said.
Oh, God. But there's a policeman outside your house on guard at this very moment.
He stays there when my father isn't there. I think he's watching for something else, not just guarding.
Something else? What else, for heaven's sake?
I don't know. I wish I did.
Peter, don't you love your father?
I think I love him. I think I do.
Don't you know him after all these years?
I want to know him. I want to be sure. But how can I? I haven't got a special way of seeing into his heart, have I? It makes it...
Don't go. It wouldn't make any difference another few minutes, would it? You'd only be a bit late.
Yes. Only a bit late.
Shall we risk it?
Yes.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Peter.
Good afternoon, Colonel Mason.
Come and sit down. I really apologize for bringing you round here on a Sunday.
My mother was very impressed by the car and the chauffeur, sir.
Was she? Because I intend to give you a whopping tea, and anyway, it's still raining cats and dogs.
Like yesterday, sir. Raining hard.
Yes, boring for you at your age, I'm sure.
No, sir. I wasn't bored. I found things to do.
Did you now? Well, tea. But before tea, I want to ask you some questions about the Thursday evening attack on your father.
Sir, to what degree do you suspect my father of being mixed up in all this? Because I'm not going to help incriminate him.
Let me assure you unequivocally that for more than one reason we're quite certain your father had no hand in the death of the late Inman. Does that satisfy you?
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Good. Right, back to the attack on Thursday then. How easy would it be to upset that whole stand?
Not very easy. It's got a sort of gutter at the bottom for umbrellas to drip into. Made of metal. It gives the stand a low centre of gravity.
Yes, but for instance, you could upset it?
Yes, sir. But it might take me a few seconds.
Yes. And when you arrived in the hall, did you smell anything?
Smell? No, sir. I didn't notice any smell.
Now, I want to ask you some more general questions about married couples. In the nature of the things, you can't yourself be married, but you are that ideal combination, an uninformed observer who is also shrewd. Now, let's take the Hodgsons first. Would you say they get on well together?
I should say they get on pretty well. I think she thinks he's vulgar and he thinks she's stuck up, but I reckon they're pretty fond of each other.
Thank you. And Mr. and Mrs. Trevelyan... Oh, hello, the books on that shelf are in total disorder. Excuse me. Yeah, the Trevelyans. What about them?
They get on very well, as far as I can see. We never hear any rows or anything. They go out a lot together.
Well, the deceased Inman didn't seem to take that rather rosy view, did he?
No, he didn't, sir. Not seem to. I've thought a bit about that since. I think he was just trying to be nasty without necessarily having anything to go on. Because they seemed happy. It was wipe that grin off your face.
That's more like it. Right, let's have the tea in, shall we? Yeah, well, it's possible. That's Saturday's dance. One after the other. Like a ritual, you see?
Yes, sir.
And Inman was like a man that evening, going round saying goodbye before setting off for a long journey. Well, it was that in a way. I mean, goodbye, and I'll give you something to remember me by. What about the Langdons?
They seem to get on very well, sir. In a different way from the Trevelyans, though.
Different? How, Peter?
They're more like, well, Mrs. Langdon sort of mothers him. And I get the impression he rather likes it.
Ah. Now, that does set the mind to work. Tea. Do you happen to know if Mrs. Langdon has money of her own?
I've never heard that, sir. It strikes me as pretty incredible.
Does it? Why?
Well, anyone with any money to speak of wouldn't be living in Riverside Villas.
Now, we can't have that kind of talk from you, young man. You're thinking like a cynic. You have to earn the right to do that. It's quite easy to earn, but it does take time. In fact, time is all it takes. Thank you, Mrs. Ellington. Now, just you fall to, dear boy.
Good Lord, sir, there's a terrific amount of it.
If there's anything you wish for, which you do not see, kindly ask for it. Oh, lovely. You like it?
I'm not sure. Not very, sir.
Well, don't let the form put you off. It's a simple 12-bar blues. And I haven't had enough tea.
Yes, thank you, sir. I'm really full up.
You know, Peter, that noise is about a quarter of my life. It makes me do absurd things. For instance, the reason why I wasn't here on Thursday evening is that I was in London at the Holborn restaurant listening to Bram Martin's band. Now, there's a Louis Armstrong I'd like to play you. Oh, somewhere I have it.
General Manton, would you mind if I asked you some questions?
In principle, certainly not.
Well, the first one is sheer curiosity on my part. But have you found any link between the stealing of Boris Karloff and the murder?
There must be one, but we haven't found it yet.
Do you know who the murderer is, sir?
Oh, yes. That was obvious the moment I knew the bare facts.
Really, sir? But you haven't any proof?
Ah, yes, it's a question of proof, as it inevitably is when there are no material witnesses.
What had my father done so Mr. Inman could threaten him?
No answer, Peter, I'm afraid. Your father must tell you in his own good time.
Do you think he was really attacked on Thursday? Or did he do it himself to divert suspicion of the murder?
Ah, you thought that one out of you. Well, let me put it to you like this. We no longer take an interest in the matter.
Sir, when will it all be over?
Oh, in a few days, with luck, and possibly with your further assistance. Oh, and as a matter of interest, everything I've said to you this afternoon has had a purpose, and everything I've told you is true. Louis Armstrong. Quite true for what it's worth. Anyway, bear it in mind, eh?
Yes, sir. I'm glad about my father, sir. I mean, I'm sure he had nothing to do with it. I was sure. But I'm glad you are.
Good. Now, let's enjoy the music, shall we?
Oh, good.
I sometimes think it's a very odd business, you know, Trevelyan, selling houses.
Yeah, as well as I'm going to have to sell one and buy another shorter, Captain Furno. I'm going to find out, aren't I?
We shall miss you, Mrs. Trevelyan. You've been most kind to my husband and to Peter, both of you, while I've been away. With all this wretchedness going on, this is the least we could do, Mrs. Furno. I don't like the idea of moving, and I know Don feels the same.
Well, we must do what we must do. No escape, I'm afraid.
There's the old boy. Played his game, I see. Have a good game, Peter.
Are you coming to join us, Peter?
Oh, in a moment, Mum. I'll have a wash first.
All right. Don't be too long.
Oh, good one. Now, 30.
Mrs. Trevelyan. Haven't seen her since... Can I sit there? You first, do. I bet I blush. To say I'm hot from playing. Now the Langdons have arrived.
How do you do?
Better go and have a wash. I'll start to look a bit balmy, just glued to... What's this? Inspector Cox and a policeman in uniform. And that Mr. Barrett coming up the path. They look as if they're going to arrest someone.
Hello, what have we got here?
Walter David Furno, I arrest you for the murder of Christopher Inman. I caution you that anything you say may be taken down.
Colonel Malcolm said it wasn't him.
But you are not obliged to say anything at the moment.
Mr. Barrett, why have you arrested my father?
Listen, youngster. Colonel Manton asked me to tell you something if I saw you. It's this. You're to remember the last thing he said to you on Sunday. I don't know what it was, but you're to remember it.
Thank you.
Come along, Mr. Furno. Let's keep moving.
What was it? Something about everything. Yes. Everything I've said to you this afternoon has had a purpose. And everything I've told you is true. It's all right, Mummy. It's all right. Don't cry. Dad's done nothing.
Well, of course it hasn't. It's all bloody ridiculous. Now, look, let's give you a lift home.
Thank you, Mr. Trevelyan. You'll be all right, Mum.
Dear.
Here we are, Barrett, the Furno residence, 19 Riverside Villas. March up to the doorman, ring the bell.
Me, sir? Yes, sir. Don't you lead men into battle, sir?
I saw you coming. What do you want?
Is your mother at home, son?
Don't call me son. It's Saturday morning. She's shopping.
May we come in, Peter?
I suppose so. Yes, come in. You'd better come into the sitting room, but it's untidy. We haven't felt like tidying up very much.
It looks all okay to me.
How's my father?
Your father's being looked after, don't worry.
How can we not worry? Colonel Manton, you told me that you knew he didn't do it.
I also told you that I spoke the truth to you last Sunday afternoon.
But according to the paper, you have fresh evidence. What sort of evidence? What does it mean?
You'll have to trust me about that.
Trust you?
Sorry, Peter. You'll have to trust me about everything.
I see. All right. What do you want, sir?
Well, I said I might need your help again. I now do.
Against my father?
It's to establish a fact, and it won't tell against your father.
Establish a fact? What fact?
Oh, consider this, Peter. We think it possible that after being dealt the fatal blow, Inman fell or was pushed into the river near the bridge, floated downstream semi-conscious, until he was by the back garden gate of this house. But to prove it could have happened that way, we must try to repeat Inman's journey with an actual person. Whereas you're about the same weight and size as the dead man, you seem the ideal choice. And I haven't much choice, have I? Policemen are large persons.
All right, why not? I just fell down.
There'll be a rope for you to cling on to, held by one of our blokes.
I'll go and put my swimming costume on.
Good man. There's no danger involved, of course.
Mind you, that water could be perishing cold.
It's not as bad as I thought. I've been in for 3 or 4 minutes. What whacking great crowd. It's going to be a storm sometime today by the look of it. The world looks different, sort of. Lying on one's back, floating. Remote. Could be anywhere.
Only a few more yards, Peter.
Yes, sir. Did this happen to Inman? I think the current is taking me exactly to the bank near number 19.
He's setting up right on the spot, sir.
Yes, so he is. An important possibility is confirmed this possibility. Very good, Peter.
Come out now.
Thank you, sir. I say, what the devil is that? It's a sort of an arrow stuck in the back. Not an arrow, a plane.
What have you found?
This, sir. It was caught in the bank.
Let me have it. Thank you. Why, you're shivering. Here's your towel. Run up to the house, old chap. Get the hot bath. I'll be in touch later. Go on, quickly.
I know. It's a fuselage without...
Yes, I know. Now, cut along, and thank you.
Yes, I'll go and have a hot bath.
There you are, Barrett. Painted word. No rudder or tailplane, no wings. Nasty, blunt metal spike at the broad end, the business end.
Truth. Were you expecting to find it?
Not exactly where it was, but it's obviously going to be somewhere in this area.
It's been manufactured so it can be shot.
Yeah. Vital evidence, my dear chap. They might have searched forever without finding it. Guard it with your life.
Yes, sir. The water's not all that cold, you know.
No, not all that cold.
He looked at it as if he understood.
He's a very bright lad, Barrett.
Oh, that's thunder. Once it breaks, perhaps I'll lose this bloody headache. God, I feel awful. Perhaps I caught my death of cold in the river this morning. Perhaps I'm going to die. There's death everywhere. God.
Peter? The door.
Yes, Mum. Come on. We'll answer it together.
Yes, of course. Thank goodness you're here, Peter.
Hello. It's you, Mr. Hodgson.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Furneaux. Peter Boy.
Will you come in, Mr. Hodgson?
No need to. The wife and I were thinking. We thought it must be a bit depressing for you here on your own on a Saturday, so we thought you might care to step across to number 22 a bit later on. Like around 7, have a bite of food.
Oh.
Dad will be out, the youngest in bed, so there'll just be the 4 of us.
Oh, that was lovely. That's the first meal I've enjoyed since... for days.
Good. Well, sit yourselves down.
Yes.
We'll have a hand of cards in a minute. You comfortable there, Peter?
Yes, thanks.
Good.
I would like to thank you both, Mrs. Hodgson, Mr. Hodgson, for having us round. Under the circumstances, it's most kind of you, and a lot more than most people are prepared to do.
Please, think nothing of it, Mrs. Furneaux. It's the least we can do, isn't it, Harry?
Yep, the least.
Well, now, you're looking rather pale, Peter.
It's the thunder. It always gives me a headache.
Oh, well, it is a bit stuffy in here. Shall I open the window? Not wide, but enough for some air, Mrs. Furneaux.
Please do. Yes, I'd like some air too.
Right.
Poor Peter. I hope you didn't catch cold this morning.
That was a lark this morning, wasn't it? I won't draw the curtains for the moment. Oh, the muck up there's about to get to us any moment. What a blooming summer. Look at it. It's almost dark already. Well, that better, Peter?
Yes, thank you.
You've seen your husband, Mrs. Furneaux?
I saw him yesterday.
Ah.
All right, is he the captain?
As they say, he's as well as can be expected.
Is he saying anything?
No. He's extremely reticent.
Yes, I'm sure he is. And the solicitor isn't saying anything neither. That's the way they fixed it.
Fixed what, Mr. Hodgson?
Tell you what I think, son. It's all a put-up job. He's collaborating with him, the captain is. I know, I can feel it. They've got some scheme going. The captain's not guilty, not in a million years. Oh, it's all some tricks with it. His nibs is thought up.
I only know he's not guilty. He couldn't be.
We know that, too.
And I'd swear on the book that the voice I heard over the phone that time wasn't your father's, not the captain's, not ever.
Oh, here it comes. Oh, it's pouring. Oh, dear. Daphne's out without a coat or hat or umbrella. I think you should close the window, dear.
Yeah, well, I told her it was going to come down, cats and dogs. Anyway, this will clear your head, Peter boy. What the hell was that? Went right through the window.
It's a golf ball.
Ducky kids, I'll get my torch. I'm going to take a stick to him, might have put someone I up.
Mum.
What is happening, Peter?
Stop it up. I'm going out.
Stay here, Mum. Stay with him, Mrs. Hodgson. I know who it is. I'm going to see.
Split up into two groups. Hawkins and Brown, stay where you are.
Right, Sarge.
The rest in the bridge.
Come on, you chap. Follow me. This way.
Crawling policeman. Dark and foully wet. Must get to the river.
Hold! Oh, it's you, Sonny. P.C. Hawkins, that's me. What are you doing out all in this wet?
I saw the torches. Wanted to see what was going on.
Well, you won't see anything in this dark, will you? Better get in the dry, you're soaking. Oh, not as wet as me, mind. I've been in the river. Come up suddenly at me, he did. Give me a fine old butt in the tummy. Oh, a bit of luck, I dropped the torch on the bank.
Are you there?
Who's that?
Hodgson here from number 22. I've two golf balls right through my bedroom window.
Oh, that's a joke, isn't it? Taking a swing of golf balls in all these?
Get to the riverside. Then follow it along to the culvert. Here we are. Now, down to the culvert. No need to run. There's no hurry if I'm right. And if I'm wrong, it doesn't matter. I don't want to see another scary film or read another scary book for the rest of my life. Good. The police are not here anyway. This is it? Yes. Careful. Careful. Here's the catwalk. Try not to shake. Now, down into the culvert. Anybody there? Got a knife. Stop it. Hold on. Don't. It's me, Peter.
Oh, God. How badly have I hurt you?
You just about missed me. It's only a scratch, Mrs. Chevalier.
I didn't think of it being you. I'm sorry, Peter. So sorry.
It's all right.
It's so awfully dark. I can't even see your face.
Perhaps that's just as well.
Yes. Oh, Peter. How did you know I was in the culvert?
Because I know you. You needed somewhere to hide and work things out. And you were sure they wouldn't look here. Come on, let's get out of the water. We'd better be getting back.
Whatever for?
Because you've got to give yourself up. They'll soon catch you if you don't.
Nobody saw me do it. They can prove nothing.
They can. And they know how you did it. I think I know too. You must come back.
No. I've got it all worked out. I know the South Downs where I grew up.
How do you think you'd get there? It's impossible, Mrs. Trevelyan. They'll be looking for you. And you're all wet.
I'll break into shops and get fresh clothes and money and a pair of spectacles and do my hair differently. Oh, sir, you could come too. We could change our names and live together. We could be together for always. Oh, darling, Peter.
Get off! You're insane. And you're bad.
I suppose I am. It would never have worked, would it? I don't think I'm insane. But I am bad. I'm sorry.
I said we knew roughly how you did it, so they'll find the machine.
It was your model glider gave me the idea. The catapulting you spoke of. I made a catapult with heavy elastic and cranked it up with a clothes mangle. It was very powerful.
Is the contraption there now, in position, I mean?
Yes. My husband's away until tomorrow. I didn't expect the police when I shot the golf balls.
Colonel Manton knew it was you. The police have been watching you. Come back with me. Give yourself up. Mrs. Trevelyan, please.
Forgive me, Peter. Not now. Now you won't be able to. But sometime. No, don't say anything. I don't want you to forget me. But you'll have to try to. Anyway, all the women you meet for the rest of your life will be less bad than me. Goodbye, Peter.
Mrs. Trevelyan.
No, don't come near. I still have the knife. Goodbye, Peter. It is really the best way.
Mrs. Trevelyan, please, don't. Where are you? It's so dark. Damn.
Forgive me, Peter.
God. Should have taken a knife. Mrs. Trevelyan. Better get back. Tell them. They'll never come back. So cold and wet. Run.
Well, now, Peter, I've a number of apologies to offer you and some information to impart. Do sit yourself down.
Thank you, Commander.
Yes. Well, I hope you're well and Clacton-on-Sea was a success.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you. We had a jolly good week and lots of sun.
Splendid. Good. Well, the apologies first, then. Chiefly what I did to your father and through him to your mother and yourself.
You didn't tell my father the arrest was a fake, did you, sir?
No, I couldn't rely on his powers as an actor.
I see that, sir. I think he understands.
I've been invited to write an account of the whole affair, and I intend to lay some stress on your father's contribution. It's true he had no choice, but I shan't say that.
That will help, sir. He doesn't feel much of a hero at present.
Ah. Has he told you about his wartime accident and his arm?
The car crash, sir, yes.
Yes, and also how Inman met a chum who knew your father was in admin and not a flyer.
He's explained it all, sir. I think he felt awful about the deception all the time. You see, sir, just before Inman was killed, he worried me because he'd become terribly worked up about 2 recent murders. Buck Ruxton and a woman. And Charlotte something.
Charlotte Bryant?
Yes. He felt he was no better than they were, which was silly. But when Inman was killed, it did worry me. His furious interest in the 2 murders of the 2.
Oh, yes, completely, Peter. Most people have a morbid interest in murder, but not a furious interest.
And then he made it worse by lying about the size of the person who attacked him that evening. She was so much smaller than him. He couldn't admit to being knocked over by her. It was all this hero stuff, I suppose.
Exactly, the boy. Well, did you tell him about P.C. Hawkins? 14 stone of him, and he was butted into the river.
Yes, sir. It helped.
Yes, good. Yeah, well, that leads us back to the murder. And our break came when you found the weapon for us. You recognized it at once, didn't you?
Not only is the fuselage of a 6-penny glider, it also told me who the murderer was. Because I'd explained about gliders and catapults and aeroplane elastic to her 10 days before the murder. I hadn't thought she was listening.
Yes, but she was.
Why did she want to kill him?
Oh, well, she'd been having an affair with him, which was a good idea to begin with, until Inman started to become indiscreet. Well, at the dance that night, for instance. He was going to tell Trevelyan, perhaps start divorces going, and this was something she could not accept at any time. And certainly not when her husband was about to be made a partner in his firm.
I see.
Yes, but let's clear up those dying words, shall we? Now, Inman said, hello, a number of times. What was he trying to say? You have 10 seconds.
Arrow.
Correct, yes. To him it was an arrow. Well, now I have 2 suspects. Her and your unfortunate father, whose lack of alibi was a huge snag. So Hodgson, by the way, was never a serious candidate, and she had nothing against him. All that evidence stuff was just to make us misdirect our efforts.
But it was quite clever, sir, since Mr. Hodgson struck Inman, and Mr. Langdon was good at funny voices.
Yes, she was quite clever, Peter. Well, now, once she had assembled her contraption and made her missile, she had to find out if it would penetrate the human skull. So, she stole Boris Karloff and used him to test the weapon. Successfully, obviously. On Tuesday, Inman was coming to see her, as usual, and when he reached her back garden, she shot him with her arrow and pushed him in the river. But he got out of the river and found you. And curiously, most of this, the way she killed, was guessed by accident in a fit of sarcasm by that man Cox, in the course of which he produced one virtually insuperable objection. What could have induced the victim to keep still long enough for such a clumsy weapon to be aimed at him? I mean, I can't explain it.
Perhaps I can, sir. I noticed the bolt on the back gate of our house was very stiff. You'd naturally stay in the same position while you worked it into place.
Oh, my boy, you saved my reason. Yes. At that distance, with that power, the trajectory would be almost flat. Simple. Oh, so there it is.
I should have stopped her killing herself. I forgot she had the knife still. Should have remembered.
She was very determined, Peter, in everything she did, as you well know. There'd be no stopping her. Now, finally this. A £5 note. An unofficial reward. Spend it unwisely.
Thank you very much, sir. I don't suppose...
No, Peter, no. How sound your instincts are. I now know you know what I am, or what I used to be. A small part of life at any time, but the smallest part is too much. Well, that understand her, and to predict how she would behave. With a result I expect could be called socially useful. But friendship between us has become impossible, I'm afraid, at present. It's, well, existing, really. We'll see, but not yet. Good luck. You're a sane human being, and you'll survive all this.
Lovely evening. Golly, I feel good. And I've £5 to spend. Ah, there's Daphne in her deck chair. Right, my boy, as the Colonel would say. Open the gate forthwith and approach. Hello, Daphne.
Oh. Hello.
Put your book down, there's a good girl. Are you free this evening?
Oh. Dunno.
Fine. That means you're free. I'll be over to fetch you about 7. You put on something nice and we'll go out somewhere.
Oh.
To hell with O, Daff. O or no O. I'm coming back at 7 and you'll be ready, okay?
What if I'm not?
Then I'll sit around until you are. It would be wasting time.
You're a big man, aren't you?
I'm not very big, I agree. Still, it's early days yet. He, certainly. As for man, I might surprise you. See you at 7.
Oh. All right.
That's a good girl. Till 7, then. That started things anyway. Better go home and have a wash. How long ago was it? 3 weeks only. It all began 3 weeks ago, here at number 21, and she came to the gate at about this time of the evening. A for sale board there now. Listen. Telephone. That song. A telephone rings, but who's to answer? Oh, how the ghost of you clings. Does her ghost cling? She'll never be back. She's gone for good. She'll never not be there in my memory, though. But not like any other deep memory. She'll stay in my mind, but I'll never be able to see her squarely. What she did with me and what she did to him, and they'll sort of run together all my life.
Peter, love, are you coming in?
Yes, Mum. I'm coming in.
Peter was played by Ian Sharrock, Colonel Manton by Peter Jeffrey, Mrs. Trevelyan by Norma Ronald, and Captain Furneaux by Stephen Thorne. Detective Constable Barrett, Paul Meyer, Mr. Hodgson, Clifford Norgate, Daphne Hodgson, Deborah Page, Mr. Langdon, Malcolm Reed, Inspector Cox, Gerald Green, Mrs. Ellington and Mrs. Hodgson, Anne Jameson, Mr. Trevelyan, Leslie Heritage, Mr. Inman, Steve Hodson, Sergeant Duke, Douglas Blackwell, and Mrs. Furneaux, Joanna Wake. Bert Soper's Rhythm Boys were Bill McGuffey, piano, Tony Gilbert, violin, Henry Mackenzie, clarinet, and Bobby Orr, drums. The play was produced and directed by Harry Catlin.